We are going through the waiver wire and we're going to go through a bunch of players who legit have season-long value, some streaming upside, and there's some key injury returns and news that you just can't afford to miss. If you haven't checked out my prior video, make sure you check it out after this one. I hope everyone is absolutely crushing their leagues right now. And with Christmas almost here, I hope Santa blesses your guys' fantasy rosters more than Jerry Jones treats his Make-A-Wish GM job. I'm Chris, and welcome to Number 2 Sports. Okay, so first up, we're going to have a guy that I have talked about a bunch in the preseason, during the season. That's going to be Isaiah Collier from the Utah Jazz. So you may be thinking, yes, Chris, you have talked about him a bunch. So what is different now? Well, the thing is, there could be a little shift in Utah's rotation over the last week or so. Collier's been close to 30 minutes per night, kind of a sign of things to potentially come from with more playing time, more minutes, to see if he's going to be a part of their future or not. Because at this point of the year, Utah and going forward, they need to develop, they need to analyze their young talent to see if they're part of their future plans or not. So yes, Collier is a great assist guy, and hopefully he can bang home double-digit points more often than not. But besides that, you aren't going to get too much else from Collier at all. But you probably won't find a better assist guy on the wire, because at this point in the year, assists can be so hard to find floating around on the waiver wire. There just isn't really many good options available at all. So the hope with Collier is that his minutes continue to stay steady around 30 per night, with even a potential for an increase in the second half when tank mode is fully underway for Utah yet again. If you're desperate for assists, Collier is your guy right now to see if this change in this Utah's rotation is going to be permanent and see if it's going to be better benefiting Collier as the season goes on. Because if it is, he'll be very useful for 12-team leagues, regardless of really what else he does on the basketball court. Next up, we have another repeat guy that I talked about in last week's video, and that's Bub Carrington from the Washington Wizards. Now, yes, I did talk about him last week and I think the week before too. No double bump for your boy, but I thought Bub was a sleeper candidate coming into the year. Like, when he gets minutes, he can produce. He looks like his offensive game has improved. He's shooting the three a lot better lately, which is just so damn fucking important in today's NBA, as you guys really know. Positions 1 through 5, not even just for the guards, even for the big mans now. You need to be able to stretch that floor just on how the NBA is played in today's world. I don't think he's going to be a guy that can stuff multiple categories per night, but he can score, he can rebound, he can facilitate with decently low turnovers, and hopefully not fuck your field goal percentage each week. I just don't think you can let Bub float around on the wire any longer when he's playing this well and his role's this juicy. I think there is a real path, especially when or if the Wizards start selling some of the vets here at the trade deadline, that Bub can get some real extended run for this young Wizard squad in the second half. And we have seen and we saw last year what he can do when given the opportunity. And next up, we'll keep going with Sammy Adams, Sammy boy, Sam Merrill from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now let me be clear, this is only if you need threes in a category or roto league. I don't think he's a must roster guy necessarily for 12-teamers besides that 3-point bump if that's what you're looking for, but I definitely believe he can carve out a role in the mid-20s for this Cleveland team with lots of kickouts or transition threes on a team that's just going to compete night in and night out. Sammy is shooting a career best 44% from deep right now, getting up a career best 9.7 attempts from the floor per game, with 8 of those, yes, 8 of those coming from beyond the arc. So he is just the definition of a 3-pointer or bust. When his shot is falling though, he can definitely help swing your 3-point category in a week. I still think he's considered best as a streamer for certain matchups, because when there are nights that his shot just isn't falling, which will happen, you're practically going to get nothing else. Consider him as a streamer on weeks that you're going up against an opponent with a really high 3-point total, or someone just helps swing you the matchup on the weekend if need be. Because unless something drastically changes with the other parts of his game, he's just not going to give you well enough rounded value to be super decent in 12-team leagues all season long. Next up, we have a guy returning from injury, a prolonged absence. That's Tari Eason off the Houston Rockets. Now, Eason finally returned to the court and had a great line considering he only played for 16 minutes. He'll definitely be a frustrating player to own, as he won't play any back-to-backs unless something happens. He'll be an insanely high injury risk guy and no real path to heavy minutes or usage on that Rockets team, but you just can't deny how good of a per-minute contributor he is for rebounds, steals, and blocks, while also being able to hold his own in the scoring department as well. So yes, I didn't paint the most prettiest picture there, but Eason is just oozing with raw talent, and he is one injury away from predominantly moving up in that rotation, and he will most likely produce enough in category leagues with a floor of 20 minutes once he gets back up to speed. I always like chasing higher upside guys, and if he was dropped, I would consider adding him as an end of the bench type guy just to see where this goes in the next few weeks. The waiver wire can just be so combed through at this part of the year that anybody with a nice pulse just needs to be taken more seriously on a chance it pans out to a lot more. Also, I probably know you guys are absolutely dying to know if I made it to the finals of my fantasy football league. Sadly, I did not. I fucking overmanaged the shit on my team. I benched a dub. It's painful. It fucking sucks. It's annoying as all hell. But you know what? We'll learn from it. We'll get better, we'll regroup, and we'll come back next year. I hope anyone that was in semis going on to the finals earns that dub. Fantasy football is just a fucking shit fest of randomness. So good luck to all you guys out there. But your boy ended up falling short. Fuck you, Cole.
I failed you. You trusted me, and I failed you.
Okay, now let's get into the usual segment where we're going to go over a bunch of guys who I think are just must roster because they have insane value right now, either in the short term or rest of season. So first up, we have the Frenchman from Paris, Maxime Renault. Now he's playing such good ball without Sabonis. I've talked about him for weeks now. There's no reason he should still be on the wire in any league. We'll deal with what his role looks like when Daddy Sabonis returns in the future, but right now we keep plugging this Frenchman into our lineups and just hope he keeps dominating and eating those crepes like it's going out of style. We'll keep going with John Collins, who has been a fairly big disappointment this year heading into the year, but with his Zubats injury, I'm hoping that it gets him back on track, and even if it doesn't, which I do think it actually will help him get his confidence back, maybe get him a more predominant role when he returns in that offense, but he should eat in the meantime, and we know we can do it in the past. He has such a fantasy-friendly skill set. We've seen him do it before, and I think he's going to do it again. He's thrown a couple good games together, so if someone dropped him, was just impatient with him, had enough of him to begin the year, you should definitely scoop him up and just let him eat at least until Zubats returns. But hopefully this gets him back on track and allows him to carve out a meaningful enough role to be useful rest of season for 12-man leagues. Cam Spencer, so again, he's just another guy that's just playing way too good a ball right now, especially with the John Morant injury and injury history that he's had this year. I do think he'll probably take a hit when Morant eventually does get back to the floor, but who knows if he's going to get traded? Who knows if Morant's going to stay healthy this year? Cam Spencer's just balling out, and he needs to be on every 12-man leagues team right now. He can't be floating on the wire. Next up, we have Anthony Black. Now, I did talk about Anthony Black a lot in my prior video. He has a huge bump right now with the Wagner injury. Hopefully, he'll still have a decent enough role when Orlando studs are all healthy. But again, I sound like a broken record with a cock in my mouth. We'll worry about that when that happens. In the meantime, he's just playing too well. He's playing too good. He's being too useful for fantasy in 12-team leagues just to be floating on any wire right now. And last up, Santi Aldama, Santa Claus. So one more time. With the Edie injury, the Spaniard can't just legit hoop. I don't need to repeat myself again, do I? Okay, now let's get into the section where you just want to double check your waiver wire to make sure none of these guys are floating around. In that previous section, most of those guys are probably already gone. But again, you just want to double check here to see if these guys are floating around on your wire for some reason, if they got dropped, because I do think they have a ton of value season long and in the short term. So first up, Najee Marshall. Now, he's not the most exciting player to own, but he's been rock solid on a somewhat crappy Maverick squad. There is a lot to be said about consistency. You won't have the highest ceiling each night, but you always know what type of floor you're getting on a nightly basis, and we can't undervalue that. Sometimes, solid consistency is just what you need in fantasy basketball. Next up, we have Sadiq Bey. Now, I actually did see a lot of people dropping Bey once Zion returned. Well, that I think actually probably backfired. I was actually able to snag him in one of my leagues off the wire because of that, and he's still continuing to produce. And you guys know I really don't like his real life value, but that doesn't matter for fantasy at all. Maybe it changes when Zion's allowed to take his diaper off and actually play 30 minutes per night, but we all know this guy is just not staying healthy. I have a better shot at dating Sidney Sweeney than Zion playing 65 plus games in a year going forward. Next up, Cedric Coward, and he's just been giving you solid across the board production. I do think he'll get better as the season goes on, especially into the second half, into the later part of the year. I've been really impressed with the rookies so far this year. And last up, Reed Shepherd. He was extremely hot for a while there, then went through another gross cold stretch. Now he's back to playing well again. The classic Michael Scott snip snap. While he's playing this good, he just fills up the stat sheet and just needs to be rostered everywhere in 12-man leagues.
It's time for Number to Sports Weekly Waiver Wire Recap. Is he going to hit himself in the not-so-torpedo of beer? Let's find out if he fucked you over last week with his weekly recommendations.
Okay, recap time. You heard the man. Let's get into it. First up, I love my crush, Kyle Filipowski, Big White. Now, the inconsistency is wild. It drives me fucking insane. I just got to stop talking about this guy. I think it's kind of actually starting to piss me off. I think he might be more of a stash candidate now until the Jazz fully shift into tank mode and give this guy a solid floor of 25 minutes per night. Until then, I think I just got to ignore this guy because I do got a big soft spot for him. Next up, we had Herbert Jones. So he got hurt, had an 8-steal game, snapping back and forth all over the place. Still, though, his steal upside is evident. I think his minutes should continue to trend up, but I don't think he's necessarily a must-hold type guy in 12 league teams unless you're super desperate for steals. Jalen Tyson was the next guy, so he has been great, but the last 2 games are a little concerning, but I'm not making any knee-jerk reactions just yet. I think he is a great fit for this team. Everyone's allowed to go through little slumps. Just keep tabs on this if this trend continues over the next few weeks. Yuck, Landale. He'll almost be a must-start guy for 12s until Edie returns. He's a nightly double-double threat with solid percentages and a sprinkling of those counting stats. Anthony Black, I know we talked about him last week, we talked about him this week. I can't say how impressed I've been with him. Each game that goes by, he's earning himself a larger role, even when Orlando is fully healthy. Potential stud in the making here. And then Bub Carrington, again, a repeat guy. He's been awesome. We've already talked about him again in the main section. Go get this man. All right, boys, but I think that's it for this video. I appreciate everyone that watches, likes, comments, subs. You know it. I can't believe we're almost at 2K subs already. This last 8 to 9 months has been an absolute wild ride. I'm having a blast. I hope you guys are enjoying it too. I'm just absolutely fucking addicted to fantasy sports, and I just love shooting the shit with you guys in the comment section, just talking about ball. I hope everyone has a great Christmas. Don't forget to check out my latest video if you haven't. It's going to be on one of these screens right here. I'll most likely have another video this weekend, but there's no guarantees during the holiday season. I might get absolutely swamped with family stuff. So if not, for sure, I'll see you guys sometime early next week. Have a great Christmas. Have a great holiday. Stay safe out there, everyone. And I'll see you guys real soon. Peace.